It's quite a special moment for me to be on this panel. It's a new South African Human Rights Commission. I think, if I understand Parliament's intentions, as expressed at the time, it was intended to be a new broom. It's not to say that previous Human Rights Commissions haven't worked well. I think many of the commissioners have been quite wonderful over the years, and the contribution has been extensive. But it's to indicate that fresh energies, a new vitality is required. And in this time of considerable political turmoil in the country, the steady gaze, well-informed, imbued with the spirit of the Constitution, could be a source of calm and well-informed reflection on some of the strongest themes in our public life. And that's the great advantage of having an independent body. The commissioners are not running for office. They're not mapping out some kind of career that is going to lead to major advancement. They're doing something for the nation in terms of the objectives we had when we created this set of Chapter 9 institutions. A unique feature of our constitutional order, I think, in the world. Independent, deeply imbued with the values of the Constitution. And for me, it's truly an honor to be part of this process. The nature of this inquiry is not simply to examine racism, the causes of racism, how to deal with racism. The whole world is involved in activities of that kind. There's a specific focus. It's racism in the social media. And one of the extraordinary things about racism is how mutable it is, how it adapts, how it changes, how it reappears in a multiplicity of guises. But at the core is that sense that some human beings are more worthy than other human beings. And that was the crucial aspect of apartheid, of society which my generation grew up in, and society that still had an enormous impact on the daily lives of millions of South Africans today. But the manifestations of the racism are different. Before, it came from the law, it came from the Constitution, it came from official power. Now the manifestations are very different in their quality. So that's the one dimension. The other is social media. Quite extraordinary. Like racism, capable of enormous mutations and evolution. And the very power and strength of the social media is, they are literally from the ground up. And they're in the hands of people. It's a hugely democratic, participatory democratic form of activity that gives it immediacy, it gives it warmth, it empowers each individual who has access to the internet. It's capable of producing wonderful things on the grand scale and wonderful things at the intimate, personal level. But it's also capable of diffusing poison, of destroying the values that we all want to achieve in our society because of its very openness and potency. And the central problem facing the Human Rights Commission in this particular environment, moment, in this particular inquiry, is how to reconcile that strong democratic power equality that social media have, and the capacity not just for individual empowerment, but for communication, for social connection, for saving people from isolation and sense of abandonment, which social media can do and do, usually positive, with the destructive capacity. People can hide, secrete themselves in the media, or even openly, boastfully pronounce in very destructive ways that violate the very essence of a new constitutional order. And the third dimension is the importance of freedom of speech and the right to self-expression and how best to deal with that. So here are these three different factors interacting in quite complex ways. And the SAHRC has invited a number of different bodies to contribute written presentations, basically drawn from government bodies who have a duty to promote the values of the Constitution. Are they doing it? The SAHRC has one of its functions to ensure that all government agencies fulfill the mandate to uphold the fundamental rights in the Constitution, but also from civil society organizations, spreading quite a wide range of opinions and tributaries into that particular river. A number have been selected to give oral presentations. So we have this compendium of written material that we can refer to, and we can decide at a later stage whether they're all made available or not. But in addition, there will be these public hearings. And the idea of a public hearing is to make it public and to be heard. So it's not just a body doing research in quiet, in private, and coming up with conclusions. We want to hear the voices, we want to be able to put out questions, we want people to engage in a kind of dialogue, a multiple dialogue of different voices to make it easier to come to recommendations that can be helpful to the nation. So today and tomorrow, then we will be armed with the written presentations already being made. The participants from the different bodies will sit. I hope the chairs will be brought a little closer, both symbolically and practically. I know as a judge you like to look into the eyes of people you're having dialogue with, and they will make short presentations. We will ask our questions. We might have a mechanism if there are people in the audience who would like certain questions put, then maybe we can have a channel that you can send them. We don't want people jumping up. It's not a mass meeting, and we don't want to encourage kind of some of the demonstrations in some of our institutions that have not been